How strong can a man's endurance to physical discomfort be? Many times, they choose to remain silent and grit their teeth. Behind this silence is not a lack of pain, but the belief that their responsibilities are more important than their bodies. I have a friend who is this type of tough guy. He is 35 years old, has a wife and children, a mortgage, a car loan, and is the only child. His parents are currently farming in their hometown. Life is happy, but the burden is heavy. In his eyes, illness is divided into two types, those he can endure and those he absolutely cannot. For stomach pain, he drinks ice cold beer to fight poison with poison. For a toothache, his first reaction is not to see a dentist, but to figure out how to deal with a nerve himself. His health philosophy is summed up in one word: endure. But once he really can't bear it, it often means a complete collapse. That day his stomach hurt again, and as usual, he drank 2 bottles of cold beer. Unexpectedly, this time the poison to poison method completely failed, and he finally couldn't hold on. The hospital visit felt like a trial. The emergency room doctor frowned and said, "This doesn't look like ordinary gastritis, we need to investigate further."
In the first course, a detailed examination made his heart skip a beat. As feared, the doctor pointed at the screen and said, "There's a large ulcer in the stomach with irregular edges and a very hard texture. A biopsy must be taken immediately. Peace. The words biopsy were like a bomb, leaving him stunned. The week waiting for the pathology report was the longest 7 days of his life. Every time the phone rang, his heart would skip a beat, both hoping and dreading a call from the hospital. The final result came: late-stage stomach cancer. The doctor said there was still a chance, but the cost of initial surgery and chemotherapy would be $400,000, and this number completely broke him. But this is just the beginning. Post-operative adjuvant chemotherapy costs $80,000 to $100,000. Good targeted drugs cost $15,000 per month and are not covered by insurance, which is nearly $200,000 a year. Adding nutritional recovery expenses, all these together are even more expensive than the surgery itself. But fortunately, this time he doesn't have to bear it alone. The reason I'm sharing my friend's story is because recently the PR for Health Fortune Million Critical Illness Long-Term Plan reached out to me. I know well that an insurance policy cannot guarantee you won't get sick, but they can prevent you from having to choose between money and life at a critical moment. A serious illness destroys not only health, but also the economic life of a family. And the Health Fortune Million Critical Illness Long-Term Plan is precisely the confidence we need right now. It covers 160 types of critical illnesses, including malignant tumors, with a one-time payout of $500,000 upon diagnosis, directly credited and with no restrictions on use. If treatment continues for 5 years, an additional $500,000 can be received gradually. A 30-year-old male, the premium is only a few dozen yuan per month on average. Of course, insurance cannot prevent illness, but it can prevent life from being completely devastated by a disease. It allows us to maintain dignity and protect our family when facing sudden challenges from fate, giving us the confidence to choose better treatment options without having to make cruel choices between money and life. My friend's story finally saw the dawn. The surgery was very successful, and the cancer cells were completely removed. Although the reaction to chemotherapy made him vomit so much that the world seemed to spin, and he was so weak that even drinking a sip of water required courage. This time, he was no longer facing it alone. That Health Fortune Million Critical Illness Long-Term Plan, which he almost forgot he had casually insured in the expense sheet, became his strongest support. While most other patients are borrowing money to barely sustain their life-saving treatments, he not only didn't borrow money for his treatment, but even during the treatment and recovery phases, he didn't miss any payments on his mortgage, car loan, or children's extracurricular classes. He says he now understands that true strength is not about how much you can endure after the fact, but having the foresight to prepare a fallback for your family beforehand. We work hard and live earnestly, all for a more secure future. But on the journey of striving for your dreams, don't forget to protect the most important person, yourself.